Okay, cool. So we saw that transition 3 ran, and that's what we're saying. For segment number 3, we want to talk about scheduling the live stream in Google Calendar using DevFlows. So I'll open up this DevFlow here. Now, I really like this tool, DevFlows. I think what you said earlier, it's about documenting the automation. And in this case, it's saying when something happens. The best way for me to document things is a flow chart, right? If you have some really big, technically correct, philosophically complete document that painfully textually enumerates every edge case, it's painful. Whereas this is a pretty simple flow chart of exactly what's happening. So just to zoom in, it's saying, so here's the other end of this transaction. Here's a webhook that comes in, and I'll go to the edit view here. So this webhook is going to come in, and then some of the data that's going to be there, I've used this reshape tool. Let's look at the configuration here. I have an event coming in, and the event has a body. And in this body is going to be guest email, appointment start date, appointment end date, appointment summary. Those are what's going to come out of that event.
Yeah.
And then I'm sending this to Google Calendar. And so in this Google Calendar, what I'm saying is I'm setting it to, I'm experimenting with the times here. I'm giving it the appointment start date and end date. And this is conference call to plan the meeting for the live stream. And then we can populate a Zoom one. This is there's some personal information in the production one, so I'm showing a demo one here. But yeah, the important parts here are the start and end date, and that gets translated from the incoming webhook into something that Google Calendar can then use to put something on a schedule. So if we try that, let's show how that works. So let's go back to this view here. We'll go filter, and I've got a demo episode here in our live stream view. Episode number 9995. Okay, so right now it's in the planned state. And if we lock down a scheduled date, so let's schedule this hypothetical episode for tomorrow at 7:45 in the morning. Okay, and then if we advance this from planned to scheduled, then this webhook is going to get called, and it's going to say, okay, take this. The webhook will get called, it will get a date, and then it will translate that date into one for the live stream, and then the other one for the live stream minus 24 hours. I've got a JSON audit in there. I just heard my Google chat ping, and then so I should look on my calendar now, and I will get behind the scenes. This will pop up in a moment. I'll get oops, let me just turn off that calendar. This will pop up in a second with the appointment. Let's see if I can refresh.
So while that's coming up, I just want to talk a little bit about this new paradigm,
please.
Which is what DevFlows is kind of pushing. So this is what has been known as the flow programming paradigm. One of the big changes that has happened out there is that as the cloud providers have been providing this amazing set of services, the new skill that developers need is not so much about writing code, but more about stitching together these services to achieve the outcomes that you want. And in those kind of scenarios, I think the most readable, the most well-structured or well-architected solutions are the ones that are best represented by a flow, because invariably there's data that's flowing through and transforming through all of these different services. And what you need is the right way to visualize the way the data is actually flowing through all of these different endpoints. So it's not so much about writing code, but about how you're stitching these together. And that's where I think flow programming and DevFlows as a platform, comes in really handy. It's a pretty neat platform. We'd love to do a bigger deep dive at one point of time on DevFlows itself.
Yeah, I really enjoy, and just to show the kind of the power of it, you can, here's an incoming webhook. You can say, okay, well, what do I want to do after that webhook? You can attach it to, you can do a bit of math. You can post it to Google Chat. You can manipulate that and have it feed S3. There's lots of different options. All right, well, let's go into the next one. I really like DevFlows, and like you said, we'll do a deep dive on it. But this is just showing one little piece of that puzzle of, okay, we have a live stream set up. We want to make a planning appointment, and we want to make sure we pencil in the live stream appointment, and then we can inject the StreamYard URL, which you're going to need, into that Google Calendar. All right, well, let's go on to the next one, which is then making the segments.